Welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. Please click on the subscribe button. Thank you. Today we are going to be talking about protest in Nigeria. Nigeria has been going through a hard time right now. There have been an ongoing protest in Nigeria, a massive protest. The citizens, the masses of Nigeria have come out in large numbers to protest against bad governance and hunger, lack of jobs. In fact, the country is in a bad shape and people are complaining about the high level of hunger, and the masses have decided to come out in a large number to protest against this bad governance. But the police are also doing their best to push them back by throwing tear gas and shooting live ammunition at these masses, and they're trying to get them to go back home. But these masses are resisting. They are not taking that anymore. They want to protest for the right. So here's a video about this.
In Nigeria, where protests against economic hardships have turned deadly. At least 13 people have been killed in the rallies across the West African nation, as per rights groups, with fears of the death toll mounting further. As per reports, many deaths took place in the Kaduna state, as thousands across Nigeria marched against the rising cost of living. Nigerian security forces fired live ammunition and tear gas to break protests in major cities. Some Nigerian media outlets have reported that the death toll is feared to be higher at around 17, and that people have lost lives in major cities like the capital of Abuja and Kano. In Kano, the country's second largest city, protesters set fire to tires outside the state governor's office, and police responded with tear gas, forcing most of the demonstrators back. Protesters later ransacked and set a digital center of the Nigeria Communications Commission ablaze. They also raided a warehouse near the Kano governor's office, while police fired shots into the air to disperse the looters. A 24-hour curfew was later imposed in the city. Hundreds of protesters also demonstrated in Abuja, the commercial capital, Lagos, and several other cities. People chanted slogans against President Bola Tinubu, calling him a thief. Now, the mass demonstrations comprise mainly of young people demanding an end to poor governance in Nigeria. Inspired by similar rallies in Kenya, they mobilized the protest on social media, using the hashtag #EndBadGovernanceInNigeria.
You cannot move from point A to point B in this country today without not necessarily breaking your neck. The cost of transport has gone up. You cannot begin to nurse the idea of sending your words to the school in this country right now without not even have to think 100 times.
Nigerian officials had warned against attempts to replicate the violent demonstrations in Kenya, where at least 50 people were killed. While the protest anxiety prompted the Nigerian government, led by President Bola Tinubu, to offer multiple concessions ahead of the rallies. Nigerian lawmakers have passed a bill to double the minimum wage, and the state oil firm announced new jobs for the first time in a decade. Despite this, angry youth turned up in huge numbers. Security officials say the protests have been hijacked by criminals and insurgents.
The IMN members have hijacked this, they are part of this protest. And that is what we have noticed. That is why we are drawing the attention of the public, since that some bad elements are trying to hijack this protest.
Earlier, President Tinubu had warned that the protests would lead to anarchy and said the military would intervene to avert a crisis. Protesters have vowed their rallies will continue in the coming days. Africa's most populous country is struggling with soaring inflation of over 34%. And a sharply devalued naira. The prices spiked after President Tinubu ended a costly fuel subsidy and liberalized the currency more than a year ago. Many protesters say they are battling hunger and poverty due to the price rise.
Nothing is actually working in Nigeria anymore. Even as an health worker, I can't fend for my family very well. I can't provide most of the basic needs. of my family. Not because I am not hardworking, but because the economy is so bad that money has no value again. When we go to the market, you spend the whole of your salary and even borrow more.